To anyone who came across this today, remember that you lack nothing. Everything you need is being provided to you. You are aligned with your highest goals and purpose. You are, through your imagination and discipline, you create the life you desire. You're protected at all times. Remember this, my friend. You're protected at all times. Guidance is always available through your intuition, the whispers of nature, the melody of music, and the science around you. Negative energies cannot touch you anymore. They return to where they came from. Trust the path unfolding before you, because you are limitless, my friend. You are limitless. I came here to remind you today that huge changes are up ahead. Everything is happening for your highest good right now. So prepare for shifts. Things are about to get exciting. How many of you are feeling that? How many of you are feeling that things are about to get exciting? That's how I'm feeling about my life. And when I feel something, I share it with you. So, my friend, there's a philosophical saying that says, man is free at the moment he wishes to be. So, it's a decision. You can be lost in this mental clutter, or you can decide to free yourself from it and create an order in your life that is led by an intention. So many times we need to keep reminding ourselves to embrace independence, to stand on your own and trust your abilities, to remind yourself of the confidence in your decisions without relying too much on others for validation, to remind yourself that you can do whatever you are deciding to do. And your path will become clear when you start walking on it. The thing is that right now, in this present time, for so many of us, the future may seem so unclear because we're really in a time where we are creating the future. It's more uncertain than ever before, which means that your ability to really use your imagination and design your life is more important than ever before. Really decide what you want to stand for. What are the skills you want to build? And what are the practices you want to master for you? So you can really own your power and gifts and anything you want to share with the world. You need to embrace independence, because the thing is that no one will come and save you until you recognize that the saver is truly your heart. It's the voice of your heart that speaks to you, and sometimes you don't hear it. You don't hear it because you spend way too much time in your mind. And your mind is cluttered by everything you've observed, everything you've perceived. So it's important to take time for quietness. I have a sacred time in the morning, and before I go to sleep, it's my time. It's the time for quietness, and I will just observe my mind to see what all this clutter, is all about. Is there something helpful and useful, or is it just a noise that I need to slowly let go? You see, in ancient times, they were not complicating when it comes to meditation. They just said you can let go of your thoughts. So focus on breathing, and when thoughts arise, let them go. You can imagine a river where there are leaves of trees that have fallen onto this water that is now streaming towards the ocean, and you can imagine how your thoughts are now slowly and gently falling into this river, and you're letting go of them. Whatever practice works for you, it doesn't really matter. The point is that you decide to be free. You decide to be free. That's when you will experience the most incredible independence, because you will notice having people around us, it's great. Having those who love us around us, it's great. But we have moments in a day when we need to find our own independence, to recognize sometimes we can't rely on anyone. Those are the times when we need to really rely onto ourselves and find liberation inside of us. That's when we can also become a very good support for others around us. So this is a very important thing, to embrace independence. Also when it comes to finances, like how satisfied you are with what provides you money. Or is there actually something else that is, whispering to you, hey, you could become very good at it if you would invest more time into it. And eventually maybe you could, start making a living out of it. I don't know. I'm just testing you. So give it a thought and see what would help you to embrace more of independence. Sometimes people are depending way too much on their partners. It's a good thing, but also it's a bad thing, because sometimes you need to take yourself on a date to recognize who you are and how much you're living according to your own voice, needs, desires, and values, right? Simple thought. Embrace the independence. I also want to talk to you a little bit. I said to you, you lack nothing because you have a creative mind. Everything you need is being provided to you through your imagination. And I know you've heard these things. If you're familiar with the work of Neville Goddard, for example, you know imagination is everything. But sometimes we forget how to really ground it into our lives. So think about your life as something that's made out of thoughts. And not just to think certain ways so things can happen, but before you take action, you think about taking action. Before you initiate a new habit, you think about that new habit. You make a plan out of it. So you think creatively about how you want to live your life. Right? Maya Angelou said, you can't use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have. So it means more you become creative about something, more incredible ideas will start finding you. More I'm painting, more visions for new art is finding me. More I'm making these videos, more ideas for new videos are finding me. That's how the universe works. It gives you what you need, not what you want. So sometimes we need to show up and show to the universe what we need. Like if you're dealing with poverty, well, show up as you need money for a project that is very important and big to you, and money will appear. Don't wait for it. Like when I was doing something for money, I was always lacking it. When I started doing things out of passion, out of a need and desire to help others, money came to me. So I've recognized that the universe gives us what we need, not what we want. And sometimes you really need to explore your originality and let your ideas shine. Like find out what is unique about your mind, because it's very unique tool. I always say to you, mind is just a tool. Don't be its prisoner. Like if you have a hammer, that hammer can hurt you if you don't know how to use it. You will hit a finger and you will say, oh, this is possessed by evil. But you can build a house with it, right? With your mind, you can be a prisoner of it, or you can create your reality with it. So whether it's a creative project or a fresh approach to solving problems, trust in your unique vision. Trust in your unique vision. Sometimes you may be like, yeah, I don't know how I can make it happen. Well, be patient. You see, your mind works all the time. It's like incredible computer. And sometimes when we're wandering way too far into the future, we are actually not taking care of what we could do in the present moment. And that's why we have a feeling like we don't know what to do. Sometimes we need to take care of the simple things we can start right now with what we have, and then things for the future will kind of unfold. And I know it feels so uncertain, and many times people don't want to believe that because it feels scary, but why wouldn't you put yourself onto a test and see if there's some truth in this? Sometimes It may fail you, but many times it will teach you to trust even more, to have more faith. So I also want to remind you, as I said to you, you lack nothing. Everything is being provided to you. I said through imagination and discipline, you create the life you desire. So you need to take initiative as a leader or a pioneer in something. Remember, even if the first step feels daunting, sometimes it does. Sometimes it does. Remember to lead with confidence. And what is confidence? Like, if you turn your face towards the ground, you will find reasons to feel sorrow. But if you put your head up and put your shoulders back and find stability in your body, you will recognize that confidence is a force that just becomes more familiar to you as you're walking forward, as you're doing what you're scared of, you're doing what you're anxious about. Yesterday, an amazing person said to me that anxiousness comes out of lack of feeling safe. Thank you, Ivy, for that. You know, when we feel anxious, it's because we are really lacking to feel safe. So how can we feel safe in something that's so unfamiliar to us, like a dream or a new life or something we've just started? Well, if it's unfamiliar, it must become more familiar to us, and it becomes more familiar through practice. Like, go and watch my first videos on this channel. You will see how shy I was. You will see how scared I was. You will see how anxious I was. But this anxiousness for me, it's far in the past. This shyness for me, it's somewhere in the past. And I'm nothing but grateful for it, because it took me here through practice, through consistency, every single day. You're seeing me every single day, right? Every single day. Like a water, you can shape rocks. That's how you overcome anxiousness. That's how you build the muscle of confidence. Lao Tzu said, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. With a single step, my friend. And sometimes it may feel like, today I don't want to make any step. I will actually do a few steps backwards, and it's okay. It's completely okay. Like, sometimes we make progress. Sometimes we experience growth. With finances, with business, with reaching more people, with, I don't know, positivity or whatever. But then we have periods where we are just making steps backwards, and it feels like we're downgrading. It feels like we're decreasing. It feels like we're losing it. But nothing is a loss, my friend. Nothing is a loss, because every time you lose something physical, you gain something spiritual. Every time you give something spiritual, you eventually gain something physical. It's a law of exchange. You give energy, you receive energy. You give love, you receive something back, right? There's no such a thing as a loss. You just need to notice what you've gained when you've lost something. It's a change in perspective, right? Lead with confidence, my friend. And sometimes, in order to experience the guidance, I said guidance is always available to you through intuition, the whispers of nature, the melody of music, and the signs around you. Sometimes, to really experience that, you need to avoid isolation. So isolation is great if you're a more sensitive person. I would say for me, I'm quite a sensitive person, but I've learned to be firm and strong as well. I've learned to own my sensitivity and use it for art, channel it into art. But when I go into the world, I'm like a warrior. So we need to recognize that isolation should serve us for preparation, right? You should isolate yourself for meditation, for training, for learning, for education, for progress on mental planes and emotional planes, like healing and things like that. But then go into the world and practice what you've learned, right? William James said, we're like islands in the sea, separate on the surface but connected in the deep. How many of you feel that? How many of you resonate with that? Because, well, independence is crucial. That's how we learn who we are. In ancient times, they said, there will come a time where ego will meet its maturity. And that's where people will start mastering their independence, their honest expression, their emotional vulnerability. And they will raise their consciousness and recognize that they are connected with life. And this connection is very essential at this point. That's why isolation is important, but not to stay there forever. I've seen so many people who've got stuck in isolation because something hard happened in their lives and they became depressed. And because of depression, they felt less and less and less energy. So let me explain my idea or my approach to depression. Life only gives you what you need. And when you stop showing up, when you stop using energy, you start losing it. There's a law in nature that says if you don't use it, you lose it. You have a vital life force. Ancients call it prana. You have it. And if you're not using it through expression, through doing something, through being active, your body is an animal and it deserves movement to be healthy. If you're not using your body, you start losing prana. As you start losing prana, you have less and less and less life force inside of you. So your mind starts losing the life force. In brain, you will start experiencing less and less and less dopamine. So there's less of the pleasure, less of focus, less of attention. And therefore you experience more of disconnection, more of sadness because you lack something, you don't know what you're lacking, and it turns into a depressed. Your body goes into a depressed and you become depressed. That's my explanation of depression. So if you want to turn it around, I've talked with many people who've been depressed. And I always say to them, think about what you loved doing in the past. Notice when you've stopped doing it and notice how your state of being started decreasing from that moment. And you can find many reasons. Yeah, it's because of divorce. It's because that person died. It's because of this and that. And I understand that. But I also understand that you deserve so much more out of life. That's why you're still alive. So you deserve so much more. And recognize what would happen if you would start doing once again things you used to love doing, like dancing and working out and networking and connecting, with the right minds and initiating the projects that are so meaningful to you, or just finding a new job that will provide you a deeper sense of purpose, or any of that. Those are scary moves, but why wouldn't you give yourself an opportunity to try them out, right? So take time to nurture relationships. Take time to find balance between self-reliance and togetherness. Isn't it the most beautiful thing when you find someone who's going through something similar than you, and then you can exchange it? And I told you in physics there's a term, constructive interference. When people who are on the same frequency come together, their energy grows. You experience growth. You experience progress because you've exchanged information and you see differently than that other person. Connect with them. Go to therapy. Find same-minded people. Do whatever you need. Avoid isolation. It doesn't say don't do it. Be isolated when you need to, but remember, isolation is only a state for preparation for life, and then live life. That's power, my friend. That's power. And for that, you need to be resilient, right? You need to be resilient. As Chinese proverb says, fall 7 times and stand up 8. Fall 100 times and stand up 101 time. This is a simple lesson that we all know. Like in the past, if I would if I would hear something like that, I would say, yeah, I already know that. But when I've been on the bottom, I would need to hear that 100 times. That's how weak our resilience sometimes may be. So I told you at the beginning, negative energy cannot touch you because it returns to where it came from. That is resilience. Knowing nothing can touch me because I am a divine being. Nothing can touch me because I am protected. Nothing can touch me because I walk in spirit or God or universe, whatever is your word. Nothing can touch you. This is resilience. So you need to know this when you're, facing the bottom, when you're going through hell, when you're experiencing something tough that is challenging your faith and trust. Challenges will arise. Yeah, they will. Welcome them. Don't pray for an easy life. Pray for strength to endure a hard one. Bruce Lee. Thanks, right? Remember, my friend, that opportunities to grow stronger and more determined are always presented to you. But sometimes you look at them as something negative. You may be surrounded with people who are toxic. What they are teaching you? They're teaching you whom not to be, but they're also teaching you to stand up and protect your rights, protect your mental health, protect your self-respect, and tell them the truth. This is resilience. Sometimes you're paid way less than what you deserve. What it is teaching you that you deserve more, but it is also teaching you if you will not show up, stand up, and tell the truth, you will never be paid for what you deserve. And sometimes when you go on to your own mission, you will need to set your own price. No one will tell you how much you deserve, so you will need to know your worth. You will need to know that high price, low price, it's not good or bad, it's just how much you feel worthy of having and how much your knowledge and your skills are worthy of. And this is only the self-worth. No one will come to you and say, oh, this is a good price. Well, those who don't want to pay you much, they will appreciate you not wanting much. They will appreciate that. But sometimes when you really start respecting yourself, people will feel that and they will start respecting you for that even more. So remember that in life, everything is teaching you to become resilient. But you need to see it this way. You need to notice that everything is preparing you to become the next version of you. You're not meant to stay who you are. You're meant to evolve, to level up, to rise up. So rise up, write down, I am rising up right now. Rise up, my friend, and know your worth. You see, knowing your worth is not something we say to ourselves, just I am worthy. It's embodying it. It's a body posture. It's a body language. Sometimes body language says more than your words, right? It's a facial expression. How do you look when you feel worthy? It's a different look than when you feel unworthy, right? So you need to train yourself. It's neuroplasticity. Your body will embody a completely different form when you get yourself into a different state of being. You change your brain. You start wiring new neural pathways that will ground you into worthiness. But then also walk as the one that's worthy. Talk as the one that's worthy. And be worthy. You already are because you've been born. You don't need to prove nothing to be it. You already are. And you already know it. So I hope you found something today that speaks to your soul and can remind you that you have what it takes to become who you came here to be. My friend, I hope you've enjoyed in today's artwork as well. I'm sending you lots of love, blessings, and power. Have a beautiful day, and till next time, thanks to everyone for supporting my art. In our store, AttractPassion.com, you can find prints of my art, original paintings. Thanks to everyone for joining our Patreon community for more exclusive content. And yes, one more time, till next time, one love.